Item C is authorizing the Mayor President to execute certain leases on behalf of the City of Baton Rouge and Parish of East Baton Rouge at the Dr. Martin Luther King Community Center by Councilmember Winfield. Councilman Glasper moves that we defer it for 2 weeks because Councilman Winfield is not here. Mayor, we have...
I talked to the councilman today by telephone in South Carolina, and he asked that I speak on his behalf. He has worked very diligently to get this issue behind him. He tried to get it up under administrative matters not long ago, and I'd ask you that, in fact, I would beg you that you go ahead and move on this item today. Everything's in order, and everybody's been worked with, and we're ready to go.
Do I have a second to Councilman Glasper's motion? The motion dies for lack of second. Councilman Glasper, you want to speak?
Okay, I asked that we get a 2-week deferral. All right, but let me just, Madam Chairman, members of the council, this is a very important lease. If we approve the lease today, and I think that, you know, I know Mr. Winfield allowed the mayor to speak on his behalf, but I think that the people who are servicing this program should be here to defend themselves, and I tell you why. They were here at the committee meeting to defend themselves, and the item was not put on the committee meeting for a public hearing, which you can then get both sides of the issue. That's number one. Number two, it was put on the administrative matters, and it was red lighted, and today it's been put on the item. And I think that a program of this magnitude, you have a program is in the area of health care. It happens to be in Councilman Winfield district. And I don't want to be district hopping, but I think that when you have a program that was established with the conditions that the in-kind services was going to be given by this city, the way the grant was submitted, and we've seen a number of grants submitted in this area, that in-kind services would be that they will have the availability to put the program in the Martin Luther King Center. And they included that instead of charging rent within the grant. Now, I think that if that is the case, they need to come down and tell the council, this is the only health care program in East Baton Rouge Parish based on income. Now, they see 1,200 individuals per month, which is 144,000 for individuals from across the parish. And they do not, based on income and sliding scale, do not turn anyone away. I don't think any other health care providers in East Baton Rouge Parish will see you where you can see a doctor, treat you, and then put you on a sliding scale and will not turn you away. The other primary physicians or health care facilities here, you have to have some type of insurance. So it is a very important issue to those who are being serviced in the community. It is very important that those individuals come and then have an opportunity in a public hearing to defend this program based on the fact that we allow them to submit a grant with in-kind services. And let me tell you, technically, they cannot modify that grant if we vote to do this today. Now, you may want to do it when you get both sides. You technically wipe out the only health care program in East Baton Rouge Parish that provides health care on a sliding scale fee. Now, all I ask to do is that we defer it for 2 weeks and give both parties an opportunity to be heard. Thank you.
Mayor McHugh.
Ms. Imes and members of the council, I think Mr. Winfield is very much aware of every issue that Councilman Glasper has raised. Most of those issues that were raised, the bogus issues, there's no way that that program is going to cease to exist. There's no way that the lease agreement that has been hammered out with the individuals representing that board is going to have any effect on the quality or the length or the availability of that program. I can recall other issues in your community center in which there were other people opposing what you wanted to do at your community center, and this council supported you on your community center and the issues that you felt were important. Mr. Winfield directly represents these individuals. There's a lot of issues that are not necessarily associated with the health of our community, but rather politics. In this particular case, I would ask that the council respect the councilman in the district in which the program exists, who has worked very hard to represent the people in that district, and would do nothing to hurt those individuals in any way, shape, or form, or anybody else within this community. It is an issue of great importance to him, one that he has worked very diligently on, and I think he deserves your support today. I really do.
Councilman Glasper and then Councilman Bennett.
Madam Chair, members of council, first of all, I think the mayor evidently, I said what I was told. Somebody's going to either call me a liar, or you're going to prove that I'm a liar, or somebody's going to prove that they lied to me, and all I'm asking you is an opportunity to come, to let them come before the council and tell both sides of the story. And when you come to a community center, I took a shellacking and a beating as a council member and turned the community centers over to the administration or over to human services, because we should not be administrators and legislators at the same time. And when you have an area, I respect that. But we're talking about health care. The number one issue in the whole parish is health care. And according to the statistics and the information that I have, and Mr. Winfield should be here, if he is so strong about it, should be here then to defend the fact that according to the grant and the information that I received, that if we pass this today, technically we wipe out the program, because the program cannot be modified. Because if we charge them this amount of money, then technically it was not submitted in there. And are you on the board?
No, I'm not on the board.
No, okay. Would you come up, please, and tell me if I'm telling the truth or not? Sir, if you don't mind, Madam Chairman, can you speak?
Councilman Glasper, it's not a public hearing.
Hold on a second. It's not a public hearing, but either I'm lying or somebody's going to tell me that I'm not telling the truth. Okay? If he's on the board, they have not technically had an opportunity to have a public hearing on the most important area of our community, and that is health care. If we won't give them a public hearing or won't hear both sides, then something is wrong. And I'm not playing politics. I can tell you right now, I care less about what happened to this guy's district, but I'm going to tell you, I do care about what happened to people. And if a person can go see a doctor that is unemployed, on disability, or on public assistance, and is charged a sliding fee, then that is not, it cannot occur anywhere else. Why not wait 2 weeks? What's the matter with waiting 2 weeks? That's all I ask, to give both sides an opportunity to come here and defend themselves. And what we're going to do technically, according to the information that I've received, if we vote to charge a rent, you shut down the health center, you shut down the program, because the grant can't be modified down. If I'm lying, I was told that lie. And I think that at least for 2 weeks we ought to wait and see and get both sides of the issue.
Ms. Adams, I can settle that issue today. If it will do that, I will not sign the lease. And all I'm asking you to do, and all that the action of Mr. Winfield will do, is authorize me to sign the lease. If it puts that program in jeopardy, I will not sign the lease. I do not believe, and Greg Walker has been involved in negotiations, and there has been numerous negotiations with the proper board, with the proper councilman, with the administration. So I think that, in all honesty, that's not an issue. If that's an issue, I will not sign it. And I've said that publicly. So I don't think you have to worry about that issue at all.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Glasper would like to allow someone to speak, and this is not a public hearing. That's going to be something that the council will have to decide. Do we have a motion one way or another on whether we would allow a gentleman to speak when it's not a public hearing?
I'd like to make a motion that we allow him 3 minutes to speak. He's on the board.
We have a
and he's the only one
motion.
here.
We have a motion to allow him to speak, seconded by Councilman Welch. Are there any objections to the motion? Then the motion carries. Would you like to speak, please, sir? We have 3 minutes for you.
Councilwoman Adams and members of the council, I'm a little full, but I thank you for letting me speak, because I'm very disturbed. I am a member of the Eden Park Medical Health Center Incorporated. I'm the finance chairman. And 3 weeks ago, I met with Mr. Walker, Mr. Winfield, and an attorney, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, from the mayor, and mayor's office, and I asked them personally who they were representing, and they said the mayor's office. and I explained this to Mr. Winfield, being my councilman, I wish he would at least come and talk to us and find out what we have. I advised Mr. Walker at that time that the Eden Park Medical Center operates on two types of funds, and those are dedicated funds coming from the federal government and the state government, and non-dedicated funds which is generated. The only funds that the board have any control over is the non-dedicated funds. Those funds still have to have permission from wherever we spend them, and everything is outlined where you spend it. There is not a profit. It's a completely non-profit organization. It's non-partisan, and it's non-political. If we generate funds, those funds goes into increasing services. And why I'm so disturbed is that I'm in a city, the city of Baton Rouge, where all of the hospitals right now is trying to get involved in preparing and presenting primary medical service to those that do not have. We're not talking about medical service that's affordable. We're talking about medical service, primary medical service that's not there. And our organization is in the business right now of performing that service. Now, we explained to them also that in February of next year is our grant year. When we did our last grant, there was no rent. It is not included in the grant. In order to be able to pay rent, we have to modify the grant. There was another problem, is lack of space. We have gone the whole year trying to find more space. At that meeting, we asked them again if it's any way we could have any more space. And Mr. Walker asked Mr. Winfield, would he go out and check this out? And he told him he had already checked it out, there was no more space. So already we know that we cannot stay in Eden Park, Martin Luther King Center, because the grant, when the grant was reviewed, this was the one thing they told us, we had to go out and find more space. So maybe I can just try to help solve this problem, but I am infringing on this council to look at what has happened and look at my side of it. Because we could not come to any agreement with them, we have purchased a building and land in order that we might carry on the service. The problem with the whole thing is it's going to take time to get it set up to handle these services. We have cleared this through the people who give us the grants. Now, the money that's used to purchase this land and building is restricted funds, and that's the only place it can be spent. There's still not enough funds to do all the work we have to do, but we have to generate it, and we have hopes of getting it from other places. Okay. But this is the only way we can keep the program alive, and the only thing we're asking you to grant us until February when we can get this grant changed.
Thank you,
This
sir.
is all.
Right, thank you. Councilman Glasper, you still have...
one question, and I appreciate you being here. When the grant was submitted, was the grant submitted with the intention that the city parish government would allow them to be in the building and them to include that space as an in-kind service in order to secure the grant? Am I technically right when I said that?
You are, sir.
All right, so I didn't tell a lie today?
No, sir.
Okay, that's all I want.
Councilman Benham?
Yes, ma'am, I move on the item.
We have, Mayor McHugh, we have a motion by Councilman Benham, second. Do we have a second to the motion on the item? Councilman Welch seconds. Councilwoman Joseph, did you want to be heard?
Well, a further question. I'm trying to understand the matter, and it all centers on the space. as I understand it, that's where it's centering on. I'm trying to understand the issue and why it's
Maybe I
such a
can kind of
divisive
clarify,
one.
Ms. Joseph. What we're trying to do is just not limited to this one project here. We're trying to establish the relationship between the city, the parish, city parish, and all of these agencies, not only with this particular location here, but what we're trying to do is execute leases in each one of these. I know Chief Woods is familiar with the Leo Butler Center, with the lease project we have there. And Baton Rouge Community Center. I mean, we're trying to execute leases in each one of these. And listen what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to give them rent-free now, between now and February, until they can go out and build them their own building with grant funds. They can modify these grants to get the lease requirements or the lease payments that they're going to have. Lease agreements are necessary. We can't just go out and donate city parish property lease-free or just free rent to these individuals, to anybody, because we need to define our relationship with them. And what we're trying to do is execute leases in each one of these organizations that are not city parish government, but they're nonprofit organizations, and then we just give them these spaces rent-free. Up until now, we're trying to establish a general relationship with all these agencies of that nature, so that we can have across-the-board lease agreements with each one.
A further question. So it has been up until this point rent-free for this program, and what the city parish is proposing is that leasing commence. Lease agreement
across the board. Yes, ma'am.
Across the board.
Not just with this one specific organization.
What would be the reason? Okay. So all the other community centers involved in this program are going to immediately start paying rent?
Well, we've already executed leases on some of them, right? We like, for instance, Leo Butler Center has a lease in effect with the state agency occupying their center, and we're in the process right now preparing a lease to submit for a nonprofit organization occupying the space at North Baton Rouge Community Center. We're doing this across the board to each one of these organizations. We're in the process of doing this right now.
So none have started. When will the date of the lease commence, as far as the payments, etc.? Do you have any idea?
If you pass this today and enabling the mayor to sign this, when we execute the lease and he signs that lease agreement with this organization. August 16th today? August 16th.
August 6th.
Let me add just a little bit to that. First of all, I believe it was this present council, if it wasn't, it was the previous council, that's on record of being in support of expanding the Eden Park Community Center for the Health Program. We don't want to kill it. We want to make it bigger and better. Mr. Glasper, in all respect, was the person who pushed the lease agreement with the South Baton Rouge Community Activity Group, or whatever it was. Darrell's trying to do the same, WT's trying to do the same identical thing in his district that Mr. Glasper has already done in his district. That's the process. There is no way in this world that as a mayor-president of this community, I'm going to sign an agreement that's going to kill a program that's needed by people who can't help themselves. But the ability to move this issue on is important, and he has asked that I speak strongly on his behalf, and that's why I'm so persistent.
Councilwoman Joseph, are you through?
So by what you're saying, Mayor, then this will not prevent that program from operating
Not at all.
between now and the time that it is able to find new quarters if they have to move out of the community center.
The finding of new quarters is something that I find at this point somewhat hard for me to understand. The last time that the issue of an additional space was discussed, there's property associated with the current center available, and we have expressed I think it's a resolution of the council and a public commitment by the mayor to move forward. Mr. Reed had some potential funding. I think that funding fell through, but the idea of expanding that center right there, we've been working with Mr. Winfield of acquiring some additional property. He's been working through Al Gensler. I'm not sure that Al's here, and I'm not sure exactly where we are. That would give us all the way to the street on that, which would be the western end of that property. Every effort is being made to ensure the success of the program, not the demise of the program.
And for it to stay right in the community center?
Exactly. And we would, you know, and I hope that we can work that out, unless if they're insisting on going somewhere else, that's another issue. But it's not our intent to move them out, but rather to arrange the same type of relationships at that center that we've achieved at the Leo Butler Center. We've also had discussions with Chief Woods concerning the North Baton Rouge Center. It's a process now that we're into of trying to put our house in order.
Councilman Glasper.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the council, let me just set the record straight. Number one, I pushed for lease agreements with South Baton Rouge Community Development Association because in South Baton Rouge Community Development Association lease, that was 5,000, I think it was between three, it's been some time now, since 80, 88, 89, that was monies allocated by Earl K. Long in their grant initially, every month to pay for space, for utilities, and those types of things that was going somewhere else. And it was all brought out in the fact that someone pled guilty to misappropriation of funds. That's number one. Number two, this very council, I pushed before this council that we, just like at Leo S. Butler, form relationships with people and make them pay their pro rata share. And you're right, you should standardize it. But I think that when you go on record, and that's all I'm asking for is 2 weeks to find out all the facts, but when you go on record saying that we will allow you to ask for a $1 million grant for health care to come to your community to serve poor people, and we're going to give you the space in your grant as a government, and then turn around and say, look, because of whatever the feelings are, politically, whatever it is, I don't know, don't care. Then we're going to go back and renege. All they asked for 2 weeks, I asked you to let both sides be heard. 2 weeks, that's all. To let them come up and show you a copy of the grant. I want to see if any money is in that grant to pay this government and was submitted, I will ask that they not only you sign a lease, but be put out the building. Because then they would be deceiving this government. Then the money would be going to somebody else's pocket. That's number one. Number two, that I've called and the grant cannot be modified. Now, I'm asking for 2 weeks to let the whole story be told. I don't see why we're in a big rush. If we're going to implement a lease, let's implement a lease. But let both sides, those members, you heard a board member, talk about a meeting that he had with the mayor, Great Walk, and the attorney. And they could not come to a meeting of the mind. He's the finance chairman. He knows where the money can and cannot go. I'm going to simply tell you today, and I'm going to go on record now, and like y'all, I always tell you this. I take people at face value. I've talked to a number of people. I've made some calls myself. Technically, when you pass the lease today, you have technically shut the program down. You give the mayor, he said he's not going to sign it. If, in fact, but you give him a big stick. You give him a big stick to well over the head of the board and say, okay, good. Now, I'm in control. If I'm not in control, I'll sign it. But I'm just technically telling you that the finance chairman, who was a member of the board, came right up here and very emotionally and no put on. He just happened to be here to speak on another issue. All I'm asking for is a full disclosure and a public hearing to hear both sides of the issue, regardless if it's in my district or not, because these 144,000 poor people come from across this parish. Now, what's so wrong with giving us 2 weeks to hear both sides? Now, something must be wrong. Thank you.